Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thank you for joining me. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. Back at it with another video. We're going to be doing live readings on the channel. We are doing tarot this Friday and we are here on August the 9th, 2024. So if you guys can see me, give me a thumbs up, say hello in the chat below. Make sure you're subscribed, and just as a reminder, if you're watching this on Saturday morning or night or Sunday, we are no longer live. We missed you. So we will not be doing readings after Friday night, but no worries, we will be back next Friday doing live astrology readings. I'm excited to get these readings going for you guys. I hope your weekend is off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with me. My name's Candace. I'm a Western astrologer. I also read tarot. I like to incorporate that into my readings. If you guys want to see more about my work, click the links below. You guys can check out my website at beyondtheveiltarot.com for personalized tarot and astrology readings, as well as I teach tarot and astrology. We've got candles and calendars and so much more cool stuff down there. Lots of webinars and courses as well. And like I said, make sure you click the bell button, you're subscribed to the channel, because we're here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. How are you guys doing in the chat? What's up, Sharon? Blue is here. Hey, Miss Martin. Dorothy's here. What's up, Mariah? Nice to see you. What's up, Victoria? So guys, we have memberships on the channel. So if you were not aware, you guys can support me through memberships. I have 3 different levels. There is level 1, 2, and 3. Level 3 memberships make it possible for me to continue to do this full time. You get a shout out and you also get a reading once a month. We always take our level 3 members first. So if there's any level 3 members in the chat other than Sharon and Blue, I know Dorothy's here. I know Victoria's here. What's up, guys? So let me plug this in because Dorothy's a member too. So we'll make sure we get her as a part of the first round of people. What's up, Monica? Hey, Katie. What's up, Sasha? So we're going to be doing readings in the order that we get them. If this is your first time getting a reading with me, you can scan the QR code right up here. This is going to take you to my PayPal where you can make a donation. We are doing 1 card readings for a $20 donation and 3 card spread for $40 US. And if you guys are just here hanging out, you can just hang out and watch as well. And let's see what else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys can see the information kind of going below down here. We also take super chat. So if you want to do super chat through YouTube, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like to get a reading, please make sure you put any information pertaining to your question in the memo of the PayPal so I know what you are asking about so I can best give you some insight into what's going on. Victoria says, Saturn Pisces wants us to dissolve things. Can the cards tell me what, how? I'm focused on self-healing from a broken arm. Surgery was the 7th. Give me advice. All right, I got you. I'll add you to my list. So we've got Sharon, Blue, Dorothy, and Victoria. We will leave the queue open for a little bit. We'll let you guys know when we're going to be closing the queue. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get going. What's up, Enchanted? Thank you, guys. I'll give you a readout of who I have who have signed up for readings. So if you hear your name, I've got you. Don't worry. All right. So we've got, let's see. We've got Dorothy, Monica, Carolina, Matt, Vanessa, Mariah, Sasha, and Robert. So you guys are all in the queue. What's up, Jessica? How's it going? How do you, not here for reading, just for support? Well, we appreciate that. All right, so we're going to start with Sharon, and then we'll take Blue, and then Dorothy. And we've got the link in the chat if you guys would like to get into the queue. All right, so let's see who we've got first. We've got Sharon. What's up, Sharon? She says, I'd love to use my monthly reading. Interested to see what the cards say about heavy energy in my life concerning my father. Could really use some clarity in this situation. All right, we've got you covered. So let's take a look and see what's going on. What do the cards have to say for Sharon in regards to her dad? All right, so in this particular order, all right, so we've got Queen of Wands, High Priestess, and the Moon card. Okay, so I'm not sure what your sun sign is, but what is coming up right now is the Queen of Wands. So this can be representative of you or a fire sign, kind of woman or female in your life. Interesting that the Queen of Wands and the High Priestess, I feel like, are very similar cards. Both of these cards really talk about getting in touch with your intuition and kind of dealing with the shadow side and bringing it to life and gaining some kind of clarity and also confidence. So the Queen of Wands in the past position talks about dealing with your energy, can be talking about dealing with creativity. It can also be talking about your self-expression right now. This is the second of the 4 queens. She does deal with being able to take action because this is the element of fire, and being aware of your ability to have some kind of influence on the current situation. Coming up as a queen is actually a good thing. This talks about being nurturing and also somebody who is capable of kind of stepping up to the plate and creating some kind of change or manifesting something. For me, this is a card that talks about empowerment, self-empowerment, and finding ways to be able to get on top of a situation and actually create change. So for this to be coming up right now, it does say you have the wherewithal, the capabilities, the energy, and the support within yourself to be able to overcome all challenges. Now, the black cat at her feet does represent intuition. So that's kind of the connection also to the High Priestess card of like learning to trust your gut, especially when it comes to making tough decisions. And feeling like, your intuition is kind of guiding you right now and giving you some insight in regards to what needs to be done. All of these cards are intuitive cards, the High Priestess and the Moon card. So the High Priestess in the current position can be talking about waiting and seeing. What I love about the High Priestess card is it's not really a card of action. It's more a card of receiving information, downloading information, listening to your intuition, using your clarity, and also like your dreams or some sort of intuitive hit to be able to navigate what's going on right now. This can represent at the moment that the best action is not taking any actions at all. It's about waiting and receiving and interpreting the messages that you are getting, whether that's from friends, intuitively, in dreams, from this reading. And really knowing that you have all of the answers, especially within you. So the High Priestess card is very confident as well. She knows what decisions need to be made, but she's waiting for the right time to kind of confront certain situations that are in her life. This is also a card that's about like receiving guidance. So it can talk about, being in a situation where you're consulting and talking with somebody who's giving you insight or giving you some sort of direction. The final card you get is the Moon card, and the Moon card talks about what we don't see during the daytime. So it's about subconscious things that are coming up. This can also be talking about, once again, dreams and intuition. So just looking at these cards that kind of feel like, regarding the situation with your dad, it's interesting, none of these cards that are coming up are masculine. So there's nothing that's actually spelling out your dad in particular. It's more about your connection to the situation and what you're kind of feeling or interpreting is going to be unfolding here pretty soon. Now, you said that you are, let's see, I just saw your stuff in just a second ago. Let's see, what did you say in terms of your sun, moon, and rising? I saw that. Where was that? Oh, Taurus rising, moon, and Scorpio sun. So obviously, the other thing to think about is, as the Taurus rising, there's a lot of change going on in your 4th house. And so the 4th house is kind of connected to the moon. It does deal with like maternal energies, home, family situations. And as a Taurus rising, after this particular retrograde where there could be some rearrangements going on with family or some changes going on in terms of your emotions or your home situation, down the road at the end of the year, you're going to see a Mars retrograde through there as well. So I kind of feel like for people who are aware, the Mercury retrograde is almost preparing us for what we're going to be dealing with in a couple months' time when Mars goes through that part of the sky. You're going to see this really kind of lit up, like especially from about like mid-October all the way through the new year. And I feel like the full moon, the full moon that's coming, especially for a Taurus rising, that's going to be in your 10th house. So it's going to kind of deal with your career and your reputation. And you're going to see an opposition between the 10th house and the 4th house. And it's going to square Uranus in your 1st. So maybe the moon card coming up is kind of saying like there is some kind of building pressure that's developing in regards to your relationship with your roots, your past, your family. Something's coming to the surface that needs to be dealt with, but that you already have the answers within you, and that if you're doubting whether or not, you should have a conversation, take some kind of action, make some kind of move, don't doubt that. Listen to what your gut is telling you. Likely you already know what you need to do. It's just a matter of when. And that there may be some kind of like boost when it comes to your confidence in managing the situation or kind of dealing with home and family matters. Even if you're feeling challenged and you're feeling like it's difficult to break free from some of these situations, likely you're going to find that it's something that's going to give you some kind of support. Now, if you're a Scorpio sun and you're having this full moon, it's going to be action-packed, because that means this is also going to be impacting your sun in the 7th house, whole sign if you're a Taurus rising. So this can also mean that it's directly impacting the relationship that you have with some of your family members, and that something is coming to a head where you're feeling like you need to kind of step out on your own and break free from some of your family or relationship patterns, forge your own path, and not feel like you're constantly limited by the past. Spend some time in meditation and reflection. Pay attention to what's coming up for you emotionally, because I feel like it's prepping you for this full moon that's coming, where you're going to know exactly how to handle things. Yes, you may feel like you're rocking the boat a little bit with other people in terms of how you're navigating family relationships, or you might feel like, it's difficult. You're kind of in between a rock and a hard place with the square that's going to come up. But I feel like the full moon card is about kind of revealing things that have been kind of lingering beneath the surface for a little while that need to be kind of aired out, Anyway, I hope that that's helpful in giving you some insight into that situation. Thanks for joining memberships. I appreciate it. What's up, Jacob? Hey, Exalta. Hey, Enchanted. I will put you on my list. All right. So we've got blue that's coming up next. What's up, Rosie? You're welcome, Sharon. I appreciate it. Rosie, we're going to do astrology next week. We're doing tarot this week, unless you want to send your info in the memo with your question. All right, so blue says, I'd like to cash in. I'm considering working with a business coach, but I want to see if I will have increased business success after the program. It is pricey. It is $5,555, and you're an Aquarius sun, Cancer rising. Just being a Cancer rising, I think about how, Saturn's in your 9th house, and Saturn represents like teachers and mentors. It rules your 7th house of relationships, and you're going to see this month that Saturn and Jupiter are going to come into a square. So part of you is going to feel like, do I want to go into some kind of program? Do I want to work with somebody? Do I believe that this is possible? And certainly with like Jupiter and Saturn coming into a square here, it does mean that you're having to let go of any fear or anxiety in your 12th house, kind of revolving around like whether or not you're going to get the support that you need from this teacher. So I would just say, I don't know if this month, especially like mid-August is the best time for taking on a new teacher with that. There's the moon again with that particular situation. So let's look at the bottom card. I want to see what the bottom card is. Knight of Cups. So the cards that you get in this order, the Ace of Swords, the Judgment card, and the Moon card. Okay, so the Ace of Swords is talking about a contract, an idea, communication, connection, learning, the ability to plant a new seed, especially when it comes to being able to feel more capable of connecting with people, feeling more confident, giving you the necessary knowledge and the ability to be able to really kind of like promote yourself. This is the card that's about new ideas. So it's saying like the seed has been planted, you are starting to think about and kind of do some research and really kind of figure out, okay, what direction am I going in? Where can I stay the most focused? And also, is this going to be a good connection for me that's really going to help me forge a path for my business? Generally, aces coming up are pretty positive. The second card is Judgment card. So it does talk about kind of feeling like you have to do something. Maybe you're feeling kind of pressured or under the gun a little bit about changing directions with what's going on with your career. You may feel that you're in a situation where you're like, okay, enough is enough. I need to get serious about this stuff. Like I really need some direction and I need some support. So I definitely feel like you're going to go in the direction of working with someone. There's no guarantee that it's this particular person. I kind of feel like the moon card coming up in the end position is kind of signifying that you're still not sure. And it's not even so much about the price. It's more about the fact that you're like, in my gut, I'm not entirely sure or confident. Like I can't see very clearly to see whether or not this is going to be like a successful kind of partnership between me and this other person. The Judgment card to me also feels pretty definitive. It's kind of like a situation where you buy something and it says all sales final, not getting a refund or results not guaranteed, or, there's some kind of clause or some kind of technicality. So it is giving you this heads up that if you do make the commitment and you jump into this, it's like all or nothing. Once you're in it, I don't necessarily think that it's bad, but I don't really feel like it's going to be a situation where there's any guarantee after working with this particular coach. The moon card also makes me feel like if there's something in your gut that's like, man, I'm not entirely sure this is my only option, or I'm not as confident that this will necessarily pay off, or I'm fearful of whether or not this is actually going to be successful, I would say take a step back. Personally, I think you're going to be better off waiting until Mars goes into Cancer, because you're going to be feeling more emotionally ready and confident about taking a leap of faith. And I guess making the necessary moves to be able to better kind of connect with a teacher. Specifically this fall, you're actually going to see Mars in Cancer in your first house, and it's going to be coming into a trine with Saturn in your 9th house. I feel like those are better aspects, and you're probably better off waiting at least a lunar cycle with this moon card coming up, just to wait and see. Some of this stuff might flush out. You might find that there's another person. Good news is that the confirmation card for you is the Knight of Cups. So this does mean that there is somebody who's kind of in waiting to work with you. The Knight of Cups might also be someone who you kind of feel like is a little bit more approachable, or somebody that you can kind of like vibe with a little bit better than the person that you have in mind. It can be a water sign as well. So it could be a Scorpio, Pisces, or a Cancer. But this is also an invitation. So I kind of feel like this is going to be much more of like a personal kind of interaction you have with somebody. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but like the Ace of Swords coming up, basically maybe somebody that you follow or somebody that you really admire and you like their work, but there can be something that is a little detached or kind of cold in regards to the connection with that particular coach. Like you may not really have the ability to do like a introductory call, or kind of getting to know them. It's like you buy the program, you work with them, and it is what it is, right? Versus the Knight of Cups coming up as the confirmation card, it's saying that you may actually find somebody that maybe they're holding like some kind of group collaboration, or maybe they're doing a newsletter, or maybe they have like a free 3 segment kind of session that they do with people to kind of show them more about their work and develop a more personalized kind of connection with their audience before you make that jump. And you may feel also more emotionally secure about this other relationship, or this other program, or this other teacher that may potentially be coming in. So there's no need to make a rush decision right now. I would say that give it about 1 month, see what else is out there, see if there's other coaches that you kind of personally kind of connect with, and somebody that you feel like is not only going to make you more confident in the connection, but also better about the investment that you're going to be making, right? So hopefully that's helpful for you. What's up, Rosie? Thanks, Monica. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks, Tanisha. I will check that in just a second. All right, so now we've got Dorothy and then Victoria and Enchanted. You're very welcome. All right, so let's see what Dorothy says. What's up, Dorothy? Dorothy says, is a move in my future. I'm trying to figure out if there will be some place near me or further away. I feel like there's been so many Pisces moons that have been asking me this week. It's like, where is my home as Saturn retrogrades through Pisces? All right, so let's ask the cards. Is there a move in the future for Dorothy? She's trying to figure out someplace near her or further away. What is that looking like? All right, in this order. Number one thing I would say is take your time. Do not rush into trying to move, okay? So you've got, first up, the Hermit card coming up, the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands. So the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands talk about, you know, there being some kind of challenge, a disappointment, not immediately finding what you want, feeling maybe like you're going uphill and there's challenges in regards to actually being able to move. Literally, planets in Gemini represent movement, whether this is in a car or traveling or, you know, moving in town. And, you know, the square that's kind of coming up with Saturn right now is definitely squashing a lot of people's plans when it comes to doing these things. So I'm just going to flat out tell everybody, if you're trying to do this stuff mid-month, it's going to be delayed, okay? And it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It's just you're going to kind of feel like there's this invisible wall that you're kind of trying to get through. So first of all, the Hermit card. The Hermit card is talking about really searching within, not searching without. So really, this is about visualizing and meditating on and gaining clarity in regards to what is it that you're looking for. It's not so much a place per se. It's you know, what kind of home are you looking for? What kind of environment do you want to be in? How do you want to be feeling in this space? What's actually, you know, kind of pushing you or making you feel inclined to move. Get to the root of the issue or the matter first, and you're going to want to start there and work your way out, right? The Hermit card also talks about Virgo season, and Virgo season is all about the details. It's all about planning. It's about searching. It's about making sure that you find the perfect thing. So prior to even moving or looking, I would say sit down, really meditate and think on what your non-negotiables are, what you have to kind of move into a new space. And I would start there first, because it seems like you're having to gain some kind of clarity about what you want before you even start the process of moving. In theory, you know, the Hermit card can talk about something that's closer to where you are. It's not necessarily as far away. And this can also be something that is also going to allow you to continue to be able to, you know, work and stay within range of where you're going to work or your daily routine or what you're doing. You're not going to have to change too much. So that gives you a little bit of like a clue in terms of where you're going. Five of Cups is a challenging card. Fives in general, because it's halfway through, you know, the entire, you know, numerology from the ace to the 10. And it does talk about kind of being at the steepest part of the situation. Five of Cups can talk about disappointment and frustration about what hasn't happened. But very often with this card, we have a tendency to overlook like what support we do have, or what options there are, or, you know, what is working in our favor, or who is there kind of like offering us something. So with the Five of Cups, rather than getting flustered and kind of frustrated with, I'm not finding what I want, or nothing's really working out, try to keep in mind that this is about not getting stuck in that situation where you can kind of get mentally kind of in a funk and be telling yourself it's never going to happen, right? One of the common things that I find with Saturn going over the moon is that there is sometimes challenges, boundaries, limitations that come up with home and living situations. So that's pretty common. I do feel like what is working in your favor as you're kind of going through some of these transits is the opportunity basically to break free out of that. Like you are going to see that happening for you, especially after you get out of like these squares between your first and your 10th house. It's going to feel like it's a lot more responsibility, and also there can be some overwhelming stuff that can kind of come up with money. So there can be this sense of being kind of flustered and being like, okay, what I want, I can't quite get at the price range that I want, or I can't quite squeeze or find the time to be able to kind of get away or break away to be able to move. Don't let that bother you. Be more focused on, you know, working with this retrograde right now. The retrograde in your 4th house is supposed to be getting you thinking about, well, where is home? Where am I going? What is the plan? It's also a really good time to be kind of like decluttering and clearing stuff out and downsizing, so that way when you do make the move, it's all that easier. So you can still feel productive in the midst of this retrograde, like you're making some headway towards a move. And likely, I would assume when the retrograde's over, you're going to have a better understanding of where it is that you would like to go. With the Five of Wands coming up, it's about feeling challenged. You may feel like you're trying to find places and you find something, and right when you're going to apply for something, you know, it becomes unavailable. Or, you know, you're trying to kind of quickly go and see a showing and you get there and they're like, oh, we actually just gave the place away. So there can be the sense of feeling like other people are beating you to it, or that there are some challenges in being able to kind of work with other people. Confirmation card that you get for this is the Three of Cups. So the Three of Cups is basically saying like you need support and collaboration with other people. It may be worth, rather than feeling like you're looking on your own, that you consider including another person. This could mean maybe you decide that you want to contact a local realtor, or you want to go and work with like a property, you know, management company, giving them all the insight and the information as to the perfect space and like what you're looking for to help you actually when it comes to finding where you're going to go. She says, I've been reorganizing clothes and everything. I like the idea of doing more research. So yeah, and the other thing is this, like it does seem as if there may be support that comes from other people. Like I would be telling other people, yes, I'm wanting to move. I'm wanting to get into a new space. This is my plan, you know, just a heads up so you're aware. And by communicating and letting other people know, I think it can be really helpful, because other people might be like, hey, I actually know of something that's for sale or something that's for rent. And there could be some kind of coincidence where you find something amazing. Three of Cups. Mercury's retrograding into your third house. So this is also about looking at other neighborhoods, looking at other areas, driving around, getting in the car, you know, going and doing some research or checking out some places outside of your usual kind of location. And I feel like for you, probably round about the time you see the Cazimi, there can be something that you find that you're really kind of interested in, or a place that you're really interested in that you would want to go and check out, or maybe that you would want to go and stay, you know, overnight or something. So that way you can get a feel for that particular area. So you can see that right around the time of the full moon that's going to be happening in Aquarius around, I think it's like the 19th of this month. Okay. Little bit more time, but you're still getting a lot of work done in the process to make the move easier. So probably when Saturn goes direct over your moon, you'll be able to figure out where you're going to go. Hopefully that's helpful for you. You're welcome. So we've got Victoria and then Enchanted. I guess Victoria is healing post-surgery from a broken arm. I hope you're okay. That's a bummer. I'm not working much at all. Give me advice. Saturn wants to dissolve things. Can the cards tell me who? Because it's in your 7th house. All right, so let's take a look. What is Saturn dissolving for you? All right, in this order, we've got the Empress, the Hangman, and the Four of Coins. All right. So this is kind of interesting. The Empress and the Hangman is really talking about like taking a step back and prioritizing like self-care and like what you need. And this can also be talking about like really tending to yourself in a way where maybe you feel like you haven't been, or that you've been neglecting to kind of take time to, you know, like really process what's most important to you. I think about Saturn in the 7th, and it does require you to be more committed or dedicated when it comes to one-on-one relationships, right? But Saturn is also boundaries. So Saturn doesn't do so well with boundaries when it's in Pisces, right? Because boundaries kind of, you know, they kind of like evaporate, or they kind of wash away. So as it's retrograde and it's the ruler of your 5th house, it basically means you're reevaluating your relationship with certain people and asking yourself, does it truly make you happy? Younger people, romantic partners, right? It can be clients, it can be all kinds of things, especially if you run your own business. A lot of it's going to be directed towards clients. So with the Empress coming up, I think it's really kind of like recognizing that in order to have good health, or in order to be well taken care of, or in order to feel complete, sometimes those boundaries are necessary with some of these people in your life. The Hangman is literally kind of caught in suspension. It means that you feel like you're kind of tied up and you're not really able to do much. And I think that's part of the process. What I have found, because Saturn does, especially in Pisces, it wants us to be alone. It wants us to be without. It wants us to sacrifice. It wants us to have time where we're in remission, or we're in bed, or we have some sort of, you know, kind of separation from other people. And when we have that separation, we kind of realize like what is best for us. And in your case, it might be the separation or the things that you go through, especially with a retrograde in your 1st house, health-wise. You start to realize like who your real friends are, or which partnerships are actually genuine and like, legit. Like, who's going to show up and be like, hey, I know you just had surgery. Do you need anything? Can I bring you anything? Through that separation, you're going to kind of see like who your people are and who's worth holding on to and who's worth letting go of, right? So I really kind of feel like the Four of Coins coming up as the final card can be talking about trying to hold your own. It can be talking about trying to take care of yourself. And, sometimes it's about not letting certain people in, that you can be like rigid or kind of fixed in your ways or really set in being like, I'm fine, don't bother me. You don't need to help me. I'm okay. And like not wanting to ask for help. Saturn in the 7th house is funny because it can mean that, it could put you in a situation where you don't want to ask for help. And even if you're completely self-sufficient, you're learning to be more emotionally open and vulnerable to the people to allow them to help you. So part of it is about learning how to reach out and letting people know like, hey, I'm struggling, I'm having a difficult time. Not that you can't do it yourself, but maybe that Four of Coins is saying part of the lesson here is like learning to open up and being vulnerable and giving people the opportunity to actually partner with you and show up and support you. She says, boundaries is a good thought. Thanks. I'm definitely focusing on true content. I'm tending to myself at home. I'm in bed. I'm away from people. I've missed my bachelorette week. I missed a bachelorette weekend and I'm seeing who is there and taking time to help. Good news. So I definitely feel like for you, the Four of Coins can also be talking about that, now being in a situation where you're taking a step back, like you may have more value for certain people in your life. Like you may realize there are certain people you don't want to let go of, or that there are relationships that you want to be kind of tending more to or kind of connecting with. And this can also be about, coins is always health, it's money. So it can also be about kind of like working with, treatment, medication, herbal things, anything where you're feeling like you're able to kind of get your strength back and be a little bit better, so that's definitely a card that can come up with healing. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Always bummer to kind of deal with broken bones or anything surgically related. So we're sending you lots of good vibes. Green calcite is really good for after surgeries and stuff. You might want to look into that. It's good for healing. Q is still open if you guys want to get a reading. Scan the QR code and we can get you in. Make sure you leave your info in the memo box, please. All right, so who else do we have? We have Enchanted. What's up, Enchanted? I barely missed you last week. All right, so let's see what Enchanted has to say. And I got you too, Rosie. I will take a look at that. Enchanted says, in my present situation, what do I need to be aware of? Good question. All right, so in this order, we've got Four of Swords, Nine of Wands, Ten of Cups. What an interesting spread. Four of Swords talks about resting, taking a step back, reevaluating, thinking something through, letting a situation just be. Obviously, swords are cards that talk about kind of like mental stuff. It can talk about stress, anxiety, overwhelm, difficult conversations and situations. So I definitely feel like most all of the House of Swords, this is the card that's just saying relax the mind. There is no need to rush forward in any situation right now. Literally taking time to overview and kind of think about something before you make a decision is important. And also kind of like calming anything that has to do with like motor brain. And you already know I'm trying to move and I just don't know where yet. So that makes sense because, Saturn's in your 12th house right now. You don't have a lot of clarity in terms of what the plans are and what the future holds. And because Mars is your ruling planet, Mars and Jupiter coming into conjunction this week means that you're going to want to throw moving plans into overdrive and you're going to be like, I'm going somewhere. And the squares to Saturn means like if you don't have structure or vision for where you're going or what you're doing, there will be a delay. So there can be frustrations in the next like week or so. And so that makes sense with the Four of Swords where it's saying like, you're not going to make much headway at the moment. Maybe it's about, doing a little bit of research, looking into some places. Maybe you decide you want to take a drive around, various parts of town, but not making any moves. Nine of Wands coming up is also about feeling overwhelmed. This is a card about overcoming obstacles and challenges when you feel like giving up. You know, finally you get to a point where you're like, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm going to stop looking, or maybe this isn't going to work, or now is not the time. And then finally there is some kind of shift and you realize like, no, you know, I've come too far to be able to do this, or I know this is necessary for my growth. I have to take this next step to be able to kind of get to where I need to go. Obviously, both of these cards talk about feeling exhausted, wounded, tired, you know, overworked, and stressed out. And so I kind of feel like with the guy standing there, like all kind of wrapped, you know, wrapped up and bandaged. Maybe you feel like you've had a couple scattered moves in the past and you're like, I'm not going to do that again. Or maybe you're feeling like, you know, you are, you know, too exhausted to be able to kind of make any plans. Like, For my Aries risings, I'm going to tell you guys, without a vision for where you're going, and whether this is education, moving, travel, things aren't going to go according to plan. So I would advise you to focus more on what's going on with health right now and kind of better managing your schedule to be able to better kind of make a move. Once again, Mars, when it goes into Cancer, yes, it's debilitated, but that's your chart ruler. So you're going to see at some point in the fall, Mars will come into your 4th house. It'll trine Saturn. Better times for kind of moving. I also feel like this retrograde is so chaotic that I feel like nobody knows which end is up. And with some of the squares to Uranus, there's lots of changes. So the changes that are being made right now might be about your health or your work. And they're necessary changes that need to be made before you kind of get to the next step. 10 of Cups, I mean, that's the card everybody wants. Emotional fulfillment, joy, celebration, you know, getting to where you want to go, having community, having support. This is the happily ever after card. So if this is your goal to be able to move, then it does look like that's something that's probably going to be playing out over the better part of like the next 10 weeks. Specifically, this card also kind of deals with, you know, that change as we kind of go from summer as we're getting ready to kind of go into fall. So I would say right around that time, that season change is probably when you're going to see that. I would go and look up in an ephemeris and see when you're going to see Mars trine Saturn. Keep in mind, right, you're a Mars ruled chart, so Mars will retrograde eventually at the end of this year in your 4th house. So if you make a move too quickly, or you move to a place, maybe that's even temporary, to see, hey, do I like it here? Am I going to do like a couple of months here, or like rent something short term or whatever? You can change your mind during the retrograde, but I feel like this is definitely worth waiting for and making sure that you're going to be going to a place where you're either going to have family, community, friends, because this is about surrounding yourself with like-minded people and being able to kind of feel like you have the support of others. And it's like a very uplifting card, and it's not really about being alone. These cards seem kind of lonely, 4 of Swords and the 9 of Wands. It's like feeling like, okay, you know what, it's just me. And then the 9 of Wands is about feeling kind of overwhelmed and overburdened. So I'd also be thinking about like where you can go, where you could develop community, or where you know you have some friends or some loved ones who are going to be welcoming you and also make you feel like you've got some kind of completeness, and it can be really positive, you know, for you emotionally. So I live alone. There are other people on the property. Well, I think it's going to be about going somewhere where there's going to be what kind of feels like community, basically. But yeah, definitely when Mars starts trining Saturn, that's a better time to make a move. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so what's up, David? David is here. All right, so let's see, who else do we have? Let me update this list really quick for you guys. We'll leave the queue open for a little bit longer. Leave it up for like another 10 minutes or so. All right, so we have got now Monica, Carolina, and Matt. You guys are next in line. Monica says 3-card pull for the upcoming live, and I think Monica actually made a comment. Let me scroll up here, make sure I didn't miss her. Monica, this is my first time. Would love to know the progress energy around a newer love interest. I'm a Scorpio sun, Virgo rising, and Libra moon. Okay, so Scorpio sun, 3rd house, Virgo rising, Libra moon. So your moon is in your 2nd house. Got it. Well, Virgo risings, this eclipse that's coming in mid-September should be pretty big for relationship and status changes. So what do we need to know about potential new future developments for Monica, and relationships. Look at this spread. My goodness. 5 of Cups, the Devil card, and the Death card. Monica, my dear, let me ask you a question. How have things been going since Saturn's been in your 7th house? I mean, I feel like the 5 of Cups in the past position talks about overcoming previous disappointments and kind of feeling like sorrow or loss, or like kind of like yearning for a relationship, but not really feeling like some of the things that have happened recently have been kind of going very well. That's kind of my interpretation, especially knowing Saturn in the 7th house. Then we've got the 2nd card, which is the Devil. Okay, so this talks about restrictions, sometimes boundaries. This can be talking about Saturn as well, but this can also talk about patterns and habits in relationships. Okay, so this card coming up right now is saying the challenge is about breaking free of some of these patterns in relationships. Point blank, being a Virgo rising right now, having a retrograde in your 1st house, and you're going to be seeing, you know, the sun's coming through there soon. Venus is there. Mercury's retrograde through there. It's all about you. And you're going to start seeing in this next month oppositions to your 7th house, where you have Saturn, where you have Neptune, and then mid-September you have an eclipse. So it's possible that there is this kind of buildup of positive energy, feeling yourself, feeling kind of, you know, like optimistic and kind of empowered. And it is possible through these transits that you're going to see oppositions with Saturn and Neptune, where you're going to be like, is that person ready for me? You know, have they worked through some of their stuff? Are they really ready to kind of like meet me at my level? You know, have they maybe suffered some difficult challenges in relationships? Once again, Saturn is the Devil. So Saturn is also connected to your 5th house. She says, resonating sure Saturn return, the last 2 years, broke up with long-term partner, and I lost my father. I'm sorry to hear that. There are some boundaries with this new relationship. So I feel like this is about respecting the boundaries that are necessary for the relationship to be able to develop in a positive way, right? And they're very much feel they're ready for me because, are they ready for me because I don't see it? Okay. So the one thing that's interesting about this is the Death card, all right? So the Death card coming up, you know, this can be talking about endings and beginnings. And so it's pretty common, like I've heard this a lot with like Saturn transits or like Pluto transits. You know, Saturn will go through the 7th house and there's the ending or the loss of one relationship and there's the beginning of another, right? I feel like it's important to look at this situation and go, if that person is not ready to meet me halfway, I'm not taking it personally. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to allow myself to spiral or to kind of believe that, you know, all relationships are destined to fail. I'm not going to fall back into that kind of cycle of getting stuck in a relationship or something that's like not really going to allow you to be your best self, something that's not going to allow you to evolve. That's what this card is about. The Death card coming up is also talking about, you know, the opportunity for rebirth and something new kind of coming in. Confirmation card, again, is the 3 of Coins. So it is saying it's not a lost cause. There is a need for a complete renewal when it comes to relationships and unions. I think both for you and also this other person. Things have to change. The Death card is saying that it's inevitable for things to change, and that change is necessary for you guys to be able to grow. But I think the issues may be stemming from the other person, just knowing your astrology. 3 of Coins does talk about something that can be worked on, something that can be fixed, something that can be developed. This is also about a working time of about 3 months. I think you're going to find right around the time that you're getting to mid-September, when you start seeing those oppositions, if that person is really kind of ready for what you're looking for. Sometimes with Saturn, Neptune in the 7th house, you can feel like, you know what, they say they're going to show up and do something. They say they're going to call. They say they're going to follow through, and then they don't. And so it's about you learning not to be a Virgo rising and being like, let me scramble to like fix everything and try to, you know, kind of go above and beyond for them. No, this is saying you guys have to do the work separately to be able to come together, to be able to work as a team. So your job is to learn not to go out of your lane and not to want to kind of fix everything for other people. Let it be, see what they do, see if they take the initiative, see if they make the necessary changes to be able to kind of come into a relationship. Really interesting stuff, obviously, right around the eclipse, especially with the Jupiter square. It can be a defining moment where you're kind of like, am I ready to change my status and kind of officially be in a relationship with somebody? And I think that's going to be the question that you're going to be having. between now and then, it's obvious that it's a time for change. And so really be more focused on not repeating some of your own patterns and habits in relationships, and don't really lose sight of the fact that this person may still be in transition. And if they're able to kind of recognize and see some of the pitfalls where they're not doing their best work, and they can kind of work through it, then there is something here that could potentially be developed. But yeah, there is some disappointment, basically. There's some disappointment revolving around like responsibility, maturity, kind of commitment within the relationship. So the Death card is about drawing the hard line and being like, this is what I need, and this is what I'm willing to kind of put into this, but nothing more than that, right? Good luck. Keep us updated. Let us know what happens. Boundaries are necessary with your 7th house transit. Thanks for joining us. We've got Carolina, and then Matt, and then Vanessa. Carolina says, 3-card reading to understand what's happening with my career. I'm a Scorpio rising, Sag moon, and sun in Pisces. Little girl, you got Mercury retrograde, your 10th house right now, where you're like, what direction am I going with work? What are my goals? Saturn's probably somewhere around your sun in Pisces in the 5th house, trying to get you to think about what's going to bring you the most joy, how you can be the most creative, especially if the sun rules your 10th house as a Scorpio rising. And the Sagittarius moon also is feeling some of the oppositions and some of the squares that are taking place. So there's a lot of money stuff coming up. So there's this focus on, you know, how can I be able to bring in more resources? How can I have access to more? Who do I need to partner with? What chances do I need to take kind of creatively, right? So let's see. So what does Carolina need to know about what's going on with work? I've got you, Rosie. You are next. You're on my list. Don't worry. I've got 5 of Swords, 2 of Cups, Ace of Wands. Excuse me, Ace of Swords. Hello, that is a sword. All right, so something that I'm thinking about, just the fact that Saturn's on your sun, I think a lot of this is like a defining moment transit where you're like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? What am I creating? And there can be some frustration because when you go through that transit in your 5th house, there's a lot of like you having to be the person who creates this thing, or you being the person who takes the lead. Like there's a lot more responsibility on you than normal. Saturn rules your 3rd house, so it can be about some kind of media. It can be about, you know, something you're writing. It could be something you're putting online. It could be about creating a website. You could be learning some new skill or something for your career. So I'm kind of feeling like with the retrograde right now, it's about really asking yourself what your goals are. And with the 5 of Swords coming up, there can be some frustration and feeling like communication's not going well with other people, or you're not really feeling like you're getting as much support as what you may need. The retrograde actually started for you in your 11th house, which is all about kind of networking, community, and the internet. So it's definitely a good time that if you're thinking about making a job change, networking, putting your resume out there, meeting with people, joining professional associations, you know, kind of going on the internet and trying to kind of connect with groups and kind of see where you could potentially get some support. Then it retrogrades into your 10th house where you reevaluate your career, and it squares Uranus. So it's going to require you to focus more on your relationships and your partnerships. 2 of Cups is a good card. This is about support. This is about working with another person. This is about offerings. So like if you were to say, well, I'm thinking about, you know, maybe working with another company, or I'm thinking about, you know, going and potentially filling out resumes and applying for jobs, I would say you're going to get some responses because the 2 of Cups is an offer to come together and partner in some capacity. So this right now is a really good energy, and it's encouraging you to be more open-minded, especially when it comes to who you can work with or what kind of an audience you can connect with, what kind of clients you could potentially get. Then you get the Ace of Swords as the final card. So it is saying it's important, especially in like the immediate next month or so, to communicate, to reach out. It's requiring you to do that. Especially Mercury retrograde in your 10th house, it's about kind of putting yourself front and center and making a conscious decision to choose a direction, or to kind of put a statement out there, or to have a conversation with a boss, or to talk to kind of like a headhunter, something like that, who's going to be kind of helping you. This could literally be about updating a resume. This could be about having a meeting with a group of people at work. This could be about creating a boundary or a line also about what will and will not work when it comes to your career. And it's definitely an energy that is very confident, it's very outspoken, and it's about kind of being seen. So I think the retrograde, you know, with Mercury is giving you the opportunity to do that. Wonderful transits for Scorpio risings with Mars and Jupiter in your 11th house. There's opportunities for you guys to ask for bonuses, for advances, for loans, for you to be going and, you know, trying to apply in other areas where you might get like a higher salary. People may be more generous and more willing to offer you something that's more lucrative if you're willing to kind of rethink or rework something about your career. Don't focus on what isn't working right now. Start thinking about how you can create better relationships either where you are or to be kind of partnering with other people. And I feel like just reaching out and sending the email or making the connections is all you need to do to be able to kind of bring some of this abundant stuff in for you. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, so let's see who we have next. Let's take, so I don't forget Rosie. We'll take Rosie, and then we're going to have Matt, Vanessa, and Mariah. What's up, Rosie? Thanks for your patience. Rosie says, hi, a look ahead for the rest of 2024. Please and thank you. Appreciate your generosity. Thank you very much. All right, let's take a look. What's up, Slage? Yes. I'll give you guys the rundown of who else is in the queue, but I know Robert is in there. I have you. All right, so let's see for Rosie. What does she need to know for the rest of 2024? All right, so these are your cards. 3 of Swords, 3 of Cups, Page of Pentacles. To me, this seems like about healing, overcoming obstacles, disappointments, setbacks, challenges, broken hearts. This is the right now, or where you've been. This is where you're going to be in the near future, and this is where you're going. So, man, if you got to pull 3 of Swords, I always want to pull it in the previous position. You know, in order to be able to heal the heart, you have to kind of take out the swords and kind of tend to the wounds. So it can be saying you are, you know, you've been dealing with like grief, or there's been some stuff coming up where you've been disappointed or kind of at a loss or heartbroken, and feeling like it's been really challenging to kind of deal with some heavy emotions. I feel like that being in the previous position matched up with the 3 of Cups does kind of talk about that the healing comes from support from other people. It comes from good friends, from family, from supportive relationships, people who kind of gather around you and help you feel like you're not alone. So when in doubt, if there's some stuff that's going on where you're feeling emotional or sad or disconnected, it wants you to not isolate yourself. It wants you to tell other people how you're feeling, what you need, and get the support whenever you can. You get invited to parties, gatherings, get-togethers, that kind of stuff. You definitely want to go. You want to be there. You want to say yes to invitations. You want to surround yourself with people who are going to be building you up, because there's going to be a lot to celebrate. This can be parties, this could be birthdays, it could be weddings, there could be all kinds of stuff that can be going on. So there's definitely a lot of good things that are going to be coming. And the final card that you get is the Page of Pentacles. So this is a good card. It is an indication that you're planting seeds revolving around money and prosperity. Pages represent a new energy. So think of it as learning a new skill, a trade, making an investment, getting some kind of news about some positive changes, and something that could eventually develop into something that's very valuable. Pages also represent the energy of Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. So watch for some of these people who can come into your life that can provide you with stability, healing, nurturing, and also some kind of insight in regards to your finances. Group kind of financial investments can come up. There can also be opportunities for you to develop wealth with friends or a family investment. It can also indicate that you're learning new skills, or there's something that's coming up to kind of help you climb the ladder when it comes to your professional life, and eventually be able to get to a point where you can also get a little bit more money. So definitely be learning about investments, be learning about also new skills and things that can kind of make you a little bit, I think, even better than what you're already doing when it comes to your professional life. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thanks, Rosie. Sorry, I was looking around and I was like, what's that noise? It just started like pouring outside. I was like, what is that? I thought there was something at the window. You guys can't hear it, but I can hear it. And there's the thunder. All right, so I'll give you guys the readout for who we have. We're going to call last call, so get in now if you guys want your reading. Let's see. So we have next, let's see. There we go. We've got Matt, Vanessa, Mariah, Sasha, Robert, Lori, one of us, Tanisha, Leah, Silk, All Things Queen, Brandon, and Chandra. Am I saying that right? Chandra? Chandra. Tell me if I'm saying your name wrong. Neptune things for sure. All right. So we're going to do Matt, Vanessa, and Mariah next. You never know when it's going to rain in Texas. All of a sudden, it'll just start pouring. It's crazy. All right. So get in the queue if you guys want to get your reading. Here we go. This one is for Mr. Powers. Kurt. Is there anything Emmy wants to say to me? Is there anything Emmy wants to say to me? That sounds like a juicy question. Let's take a look. If you don't like the weather, stick around, it'll change. That's good. All right, so does Emmy have anything to say? If so, what do we need to know? Oof. We've got Eight of Swords, the Emperor, and the Two of Swords. And the bottom card is the Ace of Swords. That's come up a lot tonight. Texas is connected to the star Sirius. Interesting. That's where my Jupiter is. I'm on my Jupiter line. All right. So first of all, to me, there seems to be like a bit of like a mental cat and mouse game that's going on right now. We've got the Emperor that's sandwiched between two cards that can be about difficulties communicating, connecting, sharing information, feeling limited with being able to say what's on their mind or kind of explain themselves in some capacity. We have got the Eight of Swords, which you can see obviously is it's a card that's about feeling like held back or incapable of being able to communicate or get out of a situation. Or maybe it's a card that can be talking about somebody who is afraid to kind of speak up or say something. This can be saying that they're processing and dealing with emotions and feelings. They're nervous, they're scared, they don't know how to better kind of express or explain themselves. It's also possible that this is somebody who is, afraid of having a conversation with you. And that if they have a conversation with you, they kind of feel like, or they feel paralyzed from being able to say something. I guess that's like a better way of explaining that. Okay, so that's in the past. So in the current situation, we have the Emperor. So one would suggest by looking at the cards, like the Emperor is the person who is going to have most of the security or most of the stability or like control over the situation. The Emperor is about the energy of Mars. Obviously, that's your chart ruler. So knowing that Mars is coming into conjunction with conjunct with Jupiter, it's going to be about you being like, I'm going to write that person, or I'm going to call that person, or I'm going to say something, and like feeling like you need to kind of get on the phone or send an email or send a message. And the Emperor card is about handling business. It's about confidence. It's about taking care of a situation, being on top of something, and also being somebody who shows up to, get the job done. So there can be an energy sometimes with the Emperor card that can sometimes be domineering. It can sometimes be aggressive. It can sometimes be, a little bit too direct. So be mindful that you're kind of going back and forth with wanting to have conversations and then kind of questioning whether or not you should hold back. This can also be talking about the fact that, she can be saying, well, I'm not so sure. I'm kind of in my head. I don't know how he feels about me. I don't know what he's thinking. If he really wants to reach out to me, he can reach out to me. He can say something. And so this could be, like I said, a bit of a cat and mouse game where she's waiting to kind of hear if you say anything or if you reach out to her. Two of Swords coming up in the final position says, once again, this person is still kind of going back and forth and being like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm stressed. If I say something, what if he doesn't like it? Or what if he doesn't feel the same way? If I don't say anything, am I not taking the necessary kind of chances? Final card confirmation is saying Ace of Swords. So it does look like a conversation is coming. It does look like something is going to be said. The Ace of Swords makes me feel like, within the immediate next month, there is going to be like a conversation or a phone call or a swift kind of discussion about maybe why they've been holding back and not talking about their feelings or not telling you what they've been thinking. All of this is very mental. So I kind of think about how like these planets going through Gemini, maybe you've been like figuring out, okay, like, does she feel the same way about me? Like, should I just like write her and say something? Like, I would practice patience. I would wait Because I feel like a lot of the lesson with what's coming up right now is about this person not being indecisive and learning how to find their voice and not being insecure and feeling confident enough to kind of confide in you and tell you how they're really feeling. But still in the background, I kind of get this feeling that you're going to be either like constructing a list of things that you're going to want to talk about, or kind of like formulating an outline for a call or for like an email or something like that, to be able to be prepared. So when you guys do have a sit down conversation, or you guys chat and talk about how you feel, you're ready, to have that conversation. You're going to be like, okay, well, I'm glad you called me because these are the things I want to say to you, So even if you're not feeling like you're making any headway right now, definitely jot down a few like points and things that you would want to say or talk about, because I feel like it's going to be extra reassuring for her when you guys have the conversation. And be receptive to talking, because it just looks like she's working up the nerve and she's trying to kind of figure out how to best express herself and face her fears revolving around like rejection. Hopefully that's helpful. Thank you for taking care of that terrorist. They pop in every now and then. They like to say hello. They can't stop. All right, so we've got Vanessa, Mariah, and Sasha. All right, let's see what Vanessa has to say. What's up, Vanessa? Hey, wanted to get your guidance advice on my daughter. She's been rebelling a lot and testing the waters with me with drugs and alcohol and talking to a lot of boys. Please don't read that part out loud. Sorry. Is this a phase, or should I really be concerned? My bad, sorry. Let's take a look. So in regards to her daughter, what do we need to know about what is going on? Is it a phase? What is she dealing with? What do we need to know? In this order. Oh, there's that Two of Swords again. To be honest with you, these cards aren't super concerning to me. I kind of feel like the Two of Swords is trying to kind of figure out how she connects with people, trying to figure out who she is. Obviously, she's still really young, but that Two of Swords can be like, well, how am I going to be able to like make the best connection, or what are people going to think, or what's the best way to be able to approach relationships, or to be able to kind of like fit in, right? And so she's rebelling, I understand, but I kind of feel like the Two of Swords can talk about a moment where, before she continues to make any future decisions or make any moves that can be having some, permanent results or some potential habits in the future, or can be kind of derailing her, she's actually more receptive than I think you're aware of. Whenever I get the Two of Swords, I always tell my client, it's about kind of looking at the two different sides of the situation and not putting people in a position of feeling like they have to choose. Offering up information and letting them digest that and make their own decision is the best way to kind of navigate that. So I feel like this is about kind of not sitting her down and lecturing her, but sitting her down and being like, let me tell you what boys really want, or let me tell you what people are going to think if you're participating in this type of behavior, or let me tell you how this is going to be perceived, right? And do what you want with this information. I think it's important to be kind of talking to her about the fact that she doesn't have to behave or act a certain way or participate in certain things socially to be able to feel like she needs to get a relationship, or that she's going to be more attractive, or that she's going to be more appealing, I guess, when it comes to boys, right? The Justice card does talk about balancing things out, and that things eventually are going to get balanced out a little bit, but there is a sense of cause and effect with the Justice card. It does mean that she may participate in certain behaviors or certain things socially, and she may realize that it's actually not going to benefit her when it comes to a relationship, and that if certain friendships or relationships are going to be kind of founded on some of these things where she's maybe not making some of the clearest decisions, right? Or she's not practicing the best judgment, she is going to learn. She's going to learn that if a relationship is based off of what she does or who she's connected to or certain behaviors or lust even, right? That it won't necessarily be something that's going to be strong and have a foundation. So the Justice card is talking about the cause and effect. What's interesting though is that the Justice card is a card that talks about Libra, so it does talk about relationships and partnerships. Two of Cups is also a card that talks about relationships and partnerships and two people coming together. I feel like it's important maybe for her to also hear from a different perspective. So like if she could hear from not just you, but from her dad. And I know that's like a colorful situation, but having her talk to another man and getting a man's perspective about how men, find women attractive and the qualities that they look for in a woman and what they admire about women. And that could be about a sense of companionship, honesty, loyalty, and not saying she has to be a good girl, but literally getting some kind of perspective from like an outside party. So she recognizes and realizes that these are traits she's going to want to incorporate within herself to make her, not just a better human, but also somebody who's going to have a healthier relationship, may bring balance to the situation. I get the feeling that she may be trying to do this because she's young and she's a teenager and she's having experiences, but Justice in the Two of Cups might mean that she actually ends up meeting somebody who's like, I don't want you doing that. Like, you don't need to be talking to other guys, or you don't necessarily need to be, doing that. I don't like it if you're, smoking or drinking, whatever it is that she's partaking in. Somebody may actually have a pretty positive influence on her, and maybe somebody who's like wanting to kind of be around her and support her and protect her and help balance her out. So I don't think this is going to be something you're going to have to worry about for a long time. I feel like it's just going to take maybe some positive male influence, kind of giving her some feedback, and also somebody who's telling her that they like her for who she is and not having to kind of be something that she's not, and help her kind of make better balanced decisions when it comes to socializing and relationships. And I think a lot of it may actually come from somebody that she ends up meeting, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got Mariah. What's up, Mariah? Sasha, Robert, and Lori, you guys are on deck. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. What's up, Mariah? My favorite Scorpio rising, Leo sun. Let's see what's going on for you, my dear. Let's see what these cards say. In this order, there's that moon card again. There it is. Well, you don't need me to tell you, but that full moon that's coming is going to be lit in your chart if you have all that fixed energy, babes. So moon, 8 of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. I'm kind of feeling like the moon card coming up is saying that there is some change on the horizon, like there are some unforeseen circumstances that are coming up that's quite literally going to make you change, okay? Energetically, this could be a change with travel. Obviously, that retrograde's kind of hanging out somewhere around like your 9th and your 10th house, so don't be surprised if that happens. It's very possible. But I think this is going to be about the possibility of like going in a completely different direction. This could be, 8 of Wands is feeling inspired to be like, I'm changing direction with work, or suddenly I've got more energy and motivation to, be doing this new thing when it comes to my goals, and feeling like really inspired. The full moon's clearing out a lot of stuff for you in this next week. Having a full moon in your 4th house is going to be excavating and pulling out all this emotion and lots of changes, especially when it comes to your home life and your family. So there could be big changes going on with them. You could be deciding that you're ready to wrap up one phase of living in a certain place. You're considering venturing, traveling, sussing out other ideas and other places for where you may potentially consider traveling to or living in the future. But 8 of Wands is like a get up and go energy. It's about feeling confident. This is also about a shift that's going to be about creative energies. It's also a really big kind of transformation, kind of like sexual energy card as well. Oh, here we go. Have been feeling deeply empowered and really want to show up stronger for the world and family during this time. Well, I feel like that 8 of Wands is about being like the change starts with you. Right? And so I think about Scorpio risings right now with like Mars and Jupiter in the 8th house, and there's this sense of feeling very brave and open to major changes. And this could be financially, this could be with relationships, this could also be how you're supporting other people. And specifically, the Queen of Cups is coming up for you, which is not you. So this could be talking about sisters, mothers, female friends and family. You can be feeling a lot more emotional, a lot more sensitive, a lot more empathic, and kind of feeling like there's this shift that's happening within you that's really encouraging to listen to your gut and your intuition when it comes to making some really big life changes. I think Scorpio risings are going through some of the craziest changes right now, to be honest with you. I know everybody's kind of going through it, but I think about your chart ruler meeting with Jupiter, and it's like your values are suddenly changing. The way that you look at money and how you're spending your time and your energy and what you're investing into. And all of a sudden there is this really strong regenerative energy where you're like, I want to be able to support everybody around me. How can I make that possible? And it really just kind of starts with a total change of mind. And I really kind of feel like with that Queen of Cups coming up, it's about kind of living heart wide open right now and listening to what your gut is telling you in terms of the necessary changes you need to make to be able to nurture and also kind of cultivate the life that you're wanting to build. And eventually it's going to be, I think, like a big status change. So it could be with relationships, it could be with work, whatever. And pay close attention to what's going on with your family. That's going to be like the number one thing that you're going to see with this full moon. And yes, there is probably going to be some shocks and surprises and things happening, but that's only going to further kind of catapult you into being able to, I think, kind of usher in this change, to be honest with you. Work with the Queen of Cups. You can put her, on your screensaver, put her on your phone. You can meditate with her, but this is a constant reminder to be really trying to be more kind of connected to your emotional nature. Being a Scorpio rising, you can do that, but because you have a lot of earth and fire in your chart, I think a lot of this is going to be about getting comfortable with change and embracing change and seeing where one thing kind of ends, it's making room for something new, Hopefully that's helpful for you. Keep an eye on the ladies in your life because they're going to be a big part of that change. We've got Sasha, Robert, Lori, and we already called last call. All right, cool. Sasha, I have to read these before I say them out loud now. You're welcome, my dear. Okay. By the way, I'm a Pisces sun, Pisces rising, Cancer moon. So much water. So much water. Yeah, just a heads up. I'll let you guys know who I have because I know people are asking. So if you hear your name, I got you. You got in before the end. Kimberly, Chandra, Brandon, All Things Queen, Silk, Leah, Tanisha, One of Us, Lori, Robert, Sasha, and yeah, that's everybody. Okay, so here we go. Sasha says, I have a huge crush on my tutor and randomly decided to end classes with him because it seemed like a distraction and was one-sided anyway. Did I make a mistake and make him hate me, or is it just my anxiety? All right, let's take a look. Oh man, I remember the story between you and him. Let's see what the cards say. So did she make a mistake? Does he hate her? What do the cards think about this connection? Well, the cards are saying let it lie for right now. We've got the Hermit card, the King of Wands, and the Four of Swords. I kind of feel like this is the way that you're playing it is taking time to kind of reflect on, was it just me? Was there something there? Is there a connection? And sometimes when the Hermit card comes up, we can kind of be in our head, right? We can be overthinking things, or we can be kind of sometimes, thinking to ourselves, did I make a mistake? Did I do something wrong? Right now, it's more about, I think, reflecting on you made the conscious decision because maybe you felt like you were so consumed by, maybe there being something, or maybe you felt like it was distracting and taking time away from other things. Making the right decision, yes, I think for right now. And this is also giving you time to gain clarity about whether or not you want to continue those studies, or whether or not, you want to kind of pursue some other kind of hobby, or if you want to be working with another instructor. Now is the time to be doing some soul searching, basically, in that department, in my opinion. I also kind of feel like as a Pisces rising, there is a lot of transits going through your first house right now. There's an eclipse coming. So there's a huge emphasis on yourself and what you want in your direction in opposition to your seventh house, which could be partnerships, relationships, somebody who offers you services. The King of Wands is coming up, which is kind of interesting because he said he's a Scorpio, but the King of Wands can be talking about somebody who comes in that's going to take some kind of initiative or take some kind of action. Traditionally, these are usually like Aries, Leos, or Sagittariuses. This can also be representing, you in a sense where there is this newfound kind of confidence and energy and you're feeling more motivated and inclined to pursue other relationships or pursue other hobbies or connect and meet with other people. So there can be this energetic shift where there isn't as much emphasis on that connection with that person. And now all of a sudden you're going to be more kind of open and available and willing to kind of let somebody new kind of come into your life that you can connect with. And Kings are definitely more personal. It's going to be somebody that you're going to be able to connect with in person because it's a fire sign. Then we have the Four of Swords. So this is about being you made your decision, let it be, don't overthink it, be confident knowing that if you felt like it was the best decision to kind of cut that off energetically because you were, spinning your wheels or maybe hoping it was going to be something, but you weren't seeing any headway, let it be, at least for the better part of the next 4 weeks. There's no need to go back and forth with this person. If he wants to connect with you or reach out to you, he will make a move. But I do feel like the Four of Swords is the confirmation card that's letting you know, it's okay. Nobody hates you. There's no, not caring for you or taking it personally. Not at all. I don't see that. I feel like, Four of Swords is water under the bridge. So it's not like you took anything the hard way. And also it's giving you time to kind of rest and kind of reflect and ask yourself whether or not you still want to potentially kind of reach out to him in a way that would be outside of the teacher kind of student, kind of setup. And waiting before you make a decision to do anything like that. But for right now, I would say let it be and be excited about this energy of either somebody new or some other kind of exciting new venture or hobby that's going to come in that's going to allow you to feel like you have a connection. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got Robert and then Lori. What's up, Robert? Did I see that you left your question? I gotta ask because I don't know if it was back there. Let's see. Looking for Robert. And if you're in the chat, just send it to me so that way I'm not making you wait, but I'm not seeing anything. I know that you were asking if I saw Robert though, I think. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So Robert, send me your question if you can. And then after that, we'll have Lori and one of us. Oh, you don't have a specific question. All right. No worries. All right. So let's pull a card for Robert. Let's see what the cards say. So what does Robert need to know right now? Ooh. You get the King of Swords. Confirmation card is the Tower. I feel like this is about gaining control of your thoughts and communication, feeling empowered, kind of directing your energy in a specific direction, focusing on contracts, negotiations, learning, communication, speaking in front of people. This is a card that's associated with Libra and Aquarius and Gemini, and this can also be about feeling like you want to master something. So sometimes this card comes up when you're like, you know what, I'm just finally going to sit down and I'm going to start writing that book, or I am going to finally put my, nose to the grindstone and work out a plan, or I am finally going to sit down and have a conversation with someone. To me, it looks like it's necessary to do these things to be able to have a fresh start or kind of clear the air. Coming up with an action plan, a to-do list, something where you're going to be feeling more motivated and more empowered, rather than feeling like maybe you're repeating the same patterns or you're kind of getting stuck, or maybe it's about being able to kind of make a decision consciously that you're going to be starting new habits and patterns, which is such a good time. Hello, it's Mercury retrograde in Virgo. It's like everybody's like, do I need to clean out my car? Like, is my closet a mess? Like, should I be eating better? And so rather than feeling like this is an overwhelming task, I think the King of Swords is kind of saying like, I am capable. A lot of this is your mindset, how you're talking to yourself. I would recommend like getting up and having like a mantra or something that you're writing every day, something that's going to be like a can do or I am, you know, type of phrase. And it's really about not focusing on what hasn't worked in the past. It's being so confident and committed to new processes and new systems and new ways of kind of standing up for yourself and communicating. And it starts with that shift of mind, basically, if that makes sense. Wow, this resonates. Okay, cool. So the King of Swords is definitely your dude right now, Robert. I hope that was helpful. We have Lori, one of us, and then Tanisha. And Lori says, just like you said in my reading for March, someone will leave or be let go at the end of July or August. It happened this week. What does it mean for me? Will it affect me and my team? So Sagittarius Sun, Leo Moon, Leo Rising. What's up, Sonia? How you doing, girl? So let's take a look here. So what do we need to know for you, Lori? What is going to happen with some of these changes going on with her and her team? Is it going to affect her? There's that damn moon card again. I swear to God. There's been a couple cards that are just kind of like warnings from the tarot that we're coming into the full moon, that it's going to be a lot. All right, so Moon, High Priestess, and the Queen of Wands. Point blank, I think this means that this is about trusting and believing and having faith in knowing that, yeah, there's things changing and you may feel kind of edgy, like, what's happening? You know, especially for Sagittarius right now, like the Mercury retrograde is very much connected to your career. But for you as a Leo rising, it's going to be actually more about some of this expansion that's going on with like the company and the business. Like things are evolving. Trust and know that you're solid. Queen of Wands, that's you, right? You know, being a Sag. That's about being like, I'm taking action. I'm doing my stuff. I'm staying in my lane. Like I'm doing my thing. Like I don't really feel like you have anything to worry about. I feel like down the road, I mean, yeah, okay, you know, we're going to see Pluto here in the next month is going to go retrograde into your 6th house. So it's going to be a reorganization of staff and scheduling and stuff like that. But it's maybe that there's changes with offices. Maybe there's changes with schedules. I don't really see it impacting you personally in your job, right? There's going to be another holy cow full moon in November that I do think is going to rock your chart a little bit. And it's going to be potentially about how you're getting on well with people at work. It can be about changes in leadership again. It can be about you getting more responsibility. So kind of look for that more in November. But I feel like the moon card and the high priestess is like, look, I knew this was coming. Like it gives me confirmation that things are changing. But as long as I continue to keep shining and doing what I'm doing and staying focused and hustling, and also like Queen of Wands is really good at her job, right? This is kind of like the businesswoman. So she's able to kind of get in there, and she's also somebody who can kind of keep up with the boys. She doesn't kind of take any slack from anybody. She stands up for herself. She's very confident. Like you need to just continue to keep going into work and doing business as usual, and don't let some of the changes that's going on around you freak you out or make you feel like, you know, you're not going to be able to swing it. There should be new teams that are developing and new groups that are coming together with the Mars and Jupiter kind of, you know, coming into your 11th house. So you might meet new people that get hired. You might make new friends. There's going to be team meetings and stuff going on. And I think a lot of it's going to be about trying to find ways to navigate some of the changes. And I think you're golden. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, well, it was pretty obvious that was coming. Being a Leo rising, there's been a lot of shakeups for you guys with your career. So there was the shock and surprise. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Lori. We've got one of us, 3-card reading, says, I'm selling a business that I've owned for 4 decades. Wow. Starting something a bit new. I'm concerned about finances for me and my family during the transition. They are also employees of my company and will now be on the payroll of a larger company. Am I doing the right thing in selling, or should I just stick it out for another 10 years owning this business? That's quite the commitment, 40 years. So let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say for you revolving around. Do we keep them on the payroll, see what happens, roll the dice? Do you stick it out for another 10 years? Let's take a look. in this order. Oh my goodness. Well, change is afoot. 3 majors is definitely, yeah. Here's the thing, right? You know, the Lover's card talks about choices, and sometimes this is a card that's about being or feeling conflicted. It's like, do I want this or do I want that? So I know that you're capable of staying with it. I can see that. I know that you maybe really obviously love and care for your family, but love and care about your business. And so there's also like another side of this that I kind of feel like is about you going, is this going to dramatically change my business from selling? Is this going to create some kind of like real challenging situation for my family? The Tower card is saying you need to almost be prepared that, you know, by selling the business, everything is going to be restructured. There is going to be a lot of change from the ground up. It can be sudden. Certain people can be moved to different departments. They may not necessarily have the same kind of seniority that they once had, even if they're being guaranteed that they're going to have employment. There inevitably will be change, okay? I feel like the Lover's card is saying that you really have to ask yourself what's most important right now. Like, you know, the Lover's card can be about temptations. You're like, oh, there's this temptation. I can get this nice chunk of cash and people are going to stay employed and I'm going to be able to cash out and leave. Like, you know, is it worth taking that? Like, you have to almost go into it knowing and assuming that a lot of elements of this business are going to change. So I don't really see a lot of things that are going to be continued in the same fashion. Obviously, you're going to come in and you're going to see it kind of taken over by a larger entity, and it's going to become very kind of corporate. And that can be rattling and kind of ground changing when maybe you've had an environment where you've been working primarily with family and there's been a lot of investment of time and energy and love, but it's not going to be the same thing on the other side. Okay, and that can be a little rattling with the Tower card coming up. The Tower is basically saying the Jenga tower is about to fall. So when you remove certain pieces of it, it may not necessarily seem like the same structure, and it can be hard to kind of adapt to what ultimately is going to change. So if you make the decision to sell, you need to be prepared. You also need to have conversations with your family that now they're going to be, you know, kind of answering to different people, and that you're no longer going to be kind of at the top. And there isn't going to be the same leniency and kind of flexibility that I think people are used to having, right? The Chariot card is coming up, and when I see the Tower and the Chariot coming up, it's basically saying this change is rapidly approaching. I personally interpret this as, you know, you're approaching a window where you can sell now when you can still get a decent amount of money for this business, and you can get out of Dodge and be like, okay, I'm out, you know, right before there's some economic issues, right before there is some big things that are going to start changing in the world and other things that could dramatically impact this business. So think of it as like selling a house before the housing stuff crashes. That's kind of how I see this. And so to me, it seems like it's valuable. People are going to want it. Yes, it's going to be a sudden dramatic change, but you have plans. You're not just going, I'm selling the business and retiring, see you later. The Chariot is a card that's about being like, I'm going somewhere, I'm taking my family with me, I'm going to go and build something new. This is going to be an adventure. It may require travel or it might require relocation. And it does seem like, yeah, you're rolling the dice, but I really feel like if you can get or wrap your head around or get your family kind of prepared for some of the changes that'll happen if you sell this business, I think you're going to get out while you're still able to make a decent amount of money off of the business. That's what I think. I think it's just like it's coming down to the wire, basically. You know, the Tower and the Chariot card are also saying that, you know, it can also be a little challenging for you and it can feel a little different because you've been so engulfed in, you know, running this business for so long that now your priorities are changing, you're changing direction. And it's important to really have a plan if you are deciding to sell this, because to me it looks like just jumping into something immediately and moving funds into something or initiating or starting a new business. I'm not saying you can't do it or it won't be successful, but have a plan, because the Chariot is about getting all your ducks in a row and not feeling like you're just kind of chaotically going towards something without kind of having, you know, like a plan B, or taking time to really reassess and decide what's going to be the best investment of my time or my energy. I do feel like whatever you go off and you decide to do, eventually you may bring some of your family or some of your relatives with you on this new venture. So if things aren't necessarily going according to plan, which I don't think they will if you sell the business, it does look like you will have an opportunity as kind of like a safety net for certain people to kind of come and help you with whatever new thing you're going to be working on. Okay? So the question is, do you take the bait? That is the question. Let me know. Hopefully that's helpful for you. That was for one of us. We've got Tanisha, Leah, Silk. You guys are all on deck. All right, so Tanisha, am I missing anybody? Sonia, did you want your reading? Did I read for you or not? Let me know. Tanisha says, what's in store for my career in my current position with the government? Ooh, the government has entered the chat. I am a supervisor. I'm looking to gain a more higher leadership role. So what do we need to know about Tanisha's current role? She's a supervisor and she wants to climb that ladder. What can the tarot tell us about her intentions for her career? Okay, I swear if I pull this card one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. Sometimes some nights are just like this. Have you guys noticed that? Ace of Swords. I feel like this is about an opportunity or an offer. You know, I wonder, I would assume like there could be a lot of like contract jobs and stuff, or like obviously like, you know, a process of having to go through applying for something and the interview and like all of the technicalities and being able to kind of connect to be able to kind of get a leg up. So this is a card that talks about the fall. Okay, so this can be talking about as we're getting into September, October. This is also about initiating a conversation or a connection or inquiring, not necessarily applying, but inquiring and finding out like what's becoming available, what's opening. This could be a meeting or like a conversation that you have with a boss or a superior, and somebody saying to you, like, let's talk about it. If you're interested in being able to kind of move up in rank or move to this department, let's, you know, call me, let's have a meeting. When you get that offer, that opportunity, that's the door that's opening, making it possible for you to kind of sit down and like make connections to people who can kind of help get you in. I feel like there's gonna be like a lot of questions. There's gonna be also a lot of like making sure that, you know, you're up to whatever the code or expectations or, you know, the new regulations or rules for whatever department you're in, because I feel like it's going to be almost like a quiz, or that they're going to be like inquiring to see how you would handle certain situations. So it may also require some kind of studying or something on your part. That would also give you the opportunity to be able to kind of really show what you've got, because a lot of this seems like it's going to be about like, you know, following rules, conduct. That's kind of what swords are about. And also, it's really going to highlight your ability to work well under pressure and communicate well with your team and provide, you know, an opportunity to show your leadership skills. So I do see things moving forward. Look for that in the fall. And when you see those windows of opportunity to connect with somebody who can help you with that process, have those meetings, have those conversations, respond to those emails, and inquire, speak up, and ask what's becoming available. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Dorothy says, at least it isn't temperance or death. True. What's up, Taylor? Are you still friends with Mike? Mike's one of my buddies. He is one of my good buddies. He actually came to visit me, like, what was it? Like maybe like 8 months ago or so, a little bit longer than that. But yeah, he came to visit me not too long ago. All right. So we have Leah, Silk, and All Things Queen. Leah says, I had a situation that happened a little while ago and could use some clarity in my relationship. I was told some information that was false. However, I don't want this person screwing things up. Also, I have blocked this person as well. I just hope what I said didn't cause further into everyone that was affected lives. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that somebody said something that wasn't true, could have created a relationship issue, and you want some information on how to handle the situation now. So let's take a look. All right, so in this order, pretty decent cards: Hierophant, Fool, and the Ace of Wands. So for me, I kind of feel like, you know, the Hierophant coming up is about being like, I did the right thing. Like I handled business. Like I said what needed to be said. I dealt with it in a mature manner. I got involved and kind of settled whatever needed to be settled and then moved forward. That's it, right? So the Hierophant kind of makes me feel like, I mean, you handled things by the book. You did what needed to be done. You kind of sorted it out. You put that person in their place. You created the boundary and the border, and you were like, bye. Then the Fool card comes up. So it's saying, like, you've moved on from the situation. You might be wondering whether or not there's something that you need to know or if there's anything that you're missing. I don't think so. I do feel like this is you choosing consciously to not dwell on whatever happened, or, you know, maybe you're looking at it as a lesson learned. The Fool is about being able to be optimistic and kind of leap into, you know, the future, being more focused on the future of a relationship, or being more focused on happiness or joy, and kind of like being excited about what the future holds with this other person, and not kind of getting wrapped up in some of what has taken place. The Ace of Wands also talks about new beginnings and being able to clear the air. This is the element of fire, and people seem to underestimate that the Ace of Wands could literally be striking a match and burning a bridge. It could also represent that it's bringing new life into the situation by being able to kind of hash it out and clear out the situation and like talk about whatever has happened can actually reignite a relationship, and it can make it stronger. It can make it more passionate. It can also kind of make you feel more confident in the fact that you stood up for yourself, or maybe you protected your relationship. I don't really feel like other people were necessarily affected in a negative way. I feel like whatever happened, you called a spade, and you said what needed to be said. And then you were like, I'm not going to involve myself any further, allowing other people to do with it what they may. And if some kind of truth came out that potentially affected other relationships or other friendships or whatever, that may have been freeing or liberating for other people who were involved, right? And if there was dishonesty or other things that were going on in that relationship or with that other person, it's like you being like, look, you did this is what happened. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm out. This is wrong. And, you know, see you later. So there was a lesson to be learned, not just for you, but for them. And I feel like, you know, maybe I feel like this whole season right now with the retrograde and things kind of coming up, and like we're seeing Venus, Saturn stuff, truths are being revealed, especially if people are in relationships where they're not being authentic, they're not being honest, it's not going to be mutual, or there's people who are being jealous or whatever. Like, that's all coming to the surface. So like your hands are clear in the situation. Like there's nothing that's really kind of sticking to you. I feel like there was a ripple effect of you bringing some truth and kind of highlighting where, you know, other people have kind of been in the wrong, and then you washed your hands of it. And this is allowing you to really move forward, I think, in a much more clean situation in your relationship, where there isn't going to be people around who are going to be potentially to cause problems, because I think that's what's been happening, you know? Anyway, I hope that that's helpful for you. Good luck. Glad to see you handled it. Do you still collect haunted dolls? I used to collect a lot of haunted stuff, actually. I still have a couple things, but nothing as crazy as I used to. I sold a lot of stuff when I left LA because I didn't want to bring it with me. All right, so I have Silk, All Things Queen, and then Brandon. Thank you, Leah. Silk says, I recently started dating someone and wanted to see what are his intentions. Is he worth pursuing? He has been acting distant and I want to gain clarity, or should I keep dating others? You're welcome. All right, so what's up with Silk's dude? He's being kind of distant. Is there something you can tell us about his intentions? And is he worth pursuing, or should she see what else is out there? Oh boy. All right, so we've got 8 of Cups, 3 of Swords, 6 of Wands. Confirmation card is 8 of Swords. Right when I saw these cards intuitively, I kind of feel like this is a situation where right when you start to back off and like show that there isn't as much interest, it's very likely you're going to see a situation where he's going to come back around. All right, it's going to be kind of like a boomerang or something. 8 of Cups is about walking away, leaving something behind. So it can mean that maybe when you've had experiences like this with people in the past, you know, you were kind of disappointed, or maybe it didn't go anywhere. And so you're kind of questioning, like, is it time for me to walk away? You're like, am I wasting my time? I do feel like just walking away before giving yourself the opportunity to kind of ask him, like, what's up? Where are we at? Like, are we good? Is important, because just walking away, is not going to give you clarity on the situation, and it's not going to give you closure if it is not a match, right? However, Three of Swords in the current position does kind of say that maybe intuitively you're thinking about kind of taking a step back or dipping out because you don't want to be hurt. And because maybe, you're afraid that, they're not going to tell you what's really going on, or that there's going to be some disappointment. And yeah, you can get your heart broken, right? That can happen. But I feel like it's important here, rather than just running away, to exercise communication, because Three of Swords is about communication, and being like, hey, I've noticed something's off. Like, what's up? Like, I want to see you. Are we good? Because I feel like, number one, this is gaining clarity before you just decide to walk away. And number two, it's giving that person the opportunity to be forthcoming with you and tell you if they're going through something, or they're kind of, interested in other people, or that there's something off. I feel like if you were to do this, he will reciprocate. He'll be like, yeah, I want to see you too. Like, let's talk. Let's, kind of connect. And he may open up to you and kind of tell you, I've been struggling. This is what I've been going through, and possibly giving you the opportunity to develop deeper kind of connection and vulnerability and kind of like intimacy with one another. He may tell you he's been kind of emotionally stressed, kind of strapped for time, dealing with some stuff. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a situation where, oh, he met somebody else, he's interested in someone else, and he's, just kind of like ignoring you. That's not what's coming up. So rather than making that assumption that he's moved on and you're like, screw it, I'm going to see other people, have the conversation with him, make sure that he's good, because I feel like just the fact that you're not willing to walk away, even though your feelings are hurt, and you're like, I want to see you, can we connect? He's going to probably feel more so open to you if he sees that you're, going out of your way to be like, is there anything going on? You want to talk about it? And when he opens up to you, that's going to open the door, making it possible for you guys actually to be able to see if there's something here. Still, I feel inclined to tell you, Eight of Cups and Three of Swords can be disappointment. So even if you are reaching out and trying to do that for somebody, there's no guarantee that he's going to be consistent. There's no guarantee also that, he's going to tell you where his head is completely at. You may try and then realize, what? If you want to hang out, I'm here. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep chasing you. Six of Wands does talk about being in a situation where you are more than happy to kind of move on and see what else is out there. But I have a strong feeling, looking at these cards, that as soon as you start doing that, he's going to come back around, right? So this isn't quite done yet. And there's more things that are going on in his head, or things that he's kind of struggling or dealing with that he's not really comfortable talking about, that has less to do with other people, and it has more to do with kind of like his mindset and where he's at right now. So give him the benefit of the doubt and ask him, and see what happens. But yeah, I do think that you're going to kind of keep things moving and see what else is out there. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Silk. We've got All Things Queen, Brandon. You guys are next. Ashley, Virgo rising here. Pluto and Aquarius in my 6th house. So many health issues. What's next for me? What should I be focused on right now? Well, definitely, I think for you, thinking about that full moon in your 6th house that's coming, that's going to be a time to watch. Thankfully, Virgo rising is going to brief reprieve. You're actually going to have Pluto leave the 6th house. It's going to go back into Capricorn beginning of September. So when that happens, it's basically saying, okay, we got to go back to the 5th house and make some changes and transformations, right? Of communication, dating, joy, happiness, more creativity. And Pluto rules your 3rd house. So it's more about the mental mindset and the effects of like mental stress. And, sometimes it's about, overdoing it when it comes to worrying about things. Sometimes it can be lung health. It can be things revolving around reproductive system. It can be stuff that's connected to breathing, the mind, all that stuff. So really, I think it's about developing a hobby or something that can kind of help you deal with stress and manage stress better. So that way, when Pluto inevitably goes back into your 6th house, you're able to kind of navigate that. This is also really good for working with like apps and stuff to manage your health, like how you're sleeping, what you're eating, how many steps you're getting. Like that can be really good. Like apps are really, really helpful for you guys. You're not going to believe this. 8 of Cups again. So this is about leaving something behind, right? And I think about the 6th house's habits. overthinking, overworking, overstressing, you know, being too overly focused and being like, this is not serving me. So Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius for very long, maybe what, like about a year, give or take. So you want to think about what has been coming up for you since then. You got to look at other aspects in your chart and see what else it's doing. As a Virgo rising, it could be in conjuncting or quincunxing your ascendant. I don't know. But I will tell you that this is about being like, okay, I know what I've been doing and it's not healthy and it's not good for me anymore. And like, I'm moving on from that and leaving it behind. For some of you guys, it's, you know, doom scrolling, it's smoking, you know, it's overworking. So you have to identify what that thing is, and you have to be conscious and willing to say, I'm leaving it behind. And I really think implementing more of like a hobby or something creative or something that's going to be more self-expressive is actually going to be a wonderful use of your time to de-stress, decompress, and also get creative about how you can be better navigating some of these health challenges. Look at like where natal Uranus is in your 7th house. Natal Uranus is in your natal chart. Go and also look at where natal Saturn is in your natal chart, because those two planets also rule your 6th. And we're seeing Jupiter square Saturn right now. So that's definitely kind of saying like you're needing to learn new health and new habits. It can be about working with a therapist. It can be about working with a partner or somebody who can kind of help challenge you or work out with you or help you, you know, make better kind of changes in your habits. So it can be a coach as well. But first things first is making a conscious effort to leave some of those health habits behind. You have a small window of time to do it this fall. So I think that you're going to get a little bit of a reprieve. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got Brandon, Chandra, and then Kimberly. If you guys haven't already liked this video, can you please give it a like for me? I appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm and it lets people know that we're here. And if you're not already subscribed, please do, because we're here every Friday. All right, so Brandon says, whatever spirit has for me right now. This is the card that you get. You get the Knight of Coins. I love this card for you. I feel like this is about, well, number one, it's about sometimes messages coming in about support, finances, prosperity, health, somebody coming in to partner with you, collaborating with you in some capacity. But I feel like this is about being on the move, or this is about being on the road. This is about, you know, investing in something, whether it's time or energy or money, that is going to pay off in the long run. And it can be a partnership, it can be a project, it could be an actual investment. But something is shifting where there's opportunities coming in for you right now that are supposed to be providing for you and making it possible for you to have more physical and financial support. Taking action with your health. This is also going to be about being productive, feeling like you have something that you're actually working on that gives you some kind of purpose or something to be kind of looking forward to. And support that can come from other earth signs. So, you know, Tauruses, Virgos, Capricorns can be coming in. It can be about a new potential, you know, thing that you're working on that's also building your confidence, because I think a lot of this is about being confident in some of your actions and some of your skills. And the more that you're actually partaking in this, the more that you're going to feel confident and be like, actually, this is something that I can do. And like, you're going to get a little bit more excited about it. And you may want to kind of share some of this with other people. But this can be a message specifically about money and resources coming in. So watch for that. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Brandon. I've got Chandra. She says, I am a Sag Sun, Capricorn Moon, and rising Cap. Holy cow. So Pluto is going to be going retrograde over your rising sign again. So get ready for that. So let's take a look and see what you need to know. Anything in regards to your love life or your career. There we go. We've got 10 of Wands, Queen of Wands, the Chariot. I didn't even realize I pulled an extra one. Emperor, so that was like an extra that popped in there. So Boy, you're tired. There seems to be more emphasis with what's kind of going on with like the career stuff, which is interesting because, yeah, you're a Capricorn rising, but you're almost an Aquarius rising. So I think about some of the stuff that's happening. So many of the planets are at the bottom part of the horizon. So there are so many things that are going on in your private life and your home life, with your relationships, with your family, with all that stuff. Like there is not as much emphasis in your 10th house, but we're going to have a full moon in your 2nd house, which is going to obviously be about money. So money and career change, that can be something that's coming up this particular month. 10 of Wands is feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, challenged, pushing yourself, trying to complete something, trying to achieve your goals, trying to really kind of make something happen. This is the past position, so it says that you're coming out of that. What you're stepping into is Queen of Wands, which is going to be about more action, confidence, charisma, creativity, passion, self-expression. And this can also be about working with fire signs. It can be you because you're a Sag, but it can be also about working with fire signs. And so I think about as a Sagittarius sun, Cap rising, you know, your sun belongs to your whole sign 12th house. So this year, you're learning about habits, routines. You could get a job in the next month with some of the transits in your 6th house. It's very possible. But it's also about not spreading yourself too thin, right? And so when I think about that 10 of Wands and the Queen of Wands, it's about, you know, thinking about ways that you can work smarter, not necessarily harder. Side jobs, projects, things that you can do that are going to be temporary or short term, or something that you can kind of work into your schedule, and getting creative with finding ways to be able to increase your opportunities financially. The Chariot talks about things coming very swiftly, something showing up very soon, which is very likely for Cap risings. Having Mars and Jupiter in the 6th house is like a quick job that shows up, a second job, a new office space, some kind of expansion with your daily routine. Yes, it will square Saturn, so you're going to be like, ugh, you know, more work, you know. But I do think that it's a good opportunity that's coming. I do also feel like with the Chariot, it could involve travel or something where you could do some work on your part-time, or you could do it, you know, from home, or something that's going to be flexible. And it's about going, you know, towards your goals and making your goals a reality. Maybe it's something you start that's kind of part-time or on the side, but it can grow and develop into something more significant. The extra card that jumped up was the Emperor card. So it's about handling things like a boss right now. This is also big energy connected to Mars. And this is usually a card that's associated with like stepping into a role where you have a lot more control or power professionally, and also getting a lot more recognition for what you're doing. It's about owning it, feeling confident, being very present with that, and kind of channeling like a little bit more of like a masculine energy. So definitely for Capricorn rising, you guys are going to see so many opportunities to work. I think that the only challenge is to not overdo it, basically. So I hope that that's helpful for you. And definitely Queen of Wands, even if you are questioning about relationships, there's definitely a lot more confidence and kind of sexiness that comes through. So it's definitely a lot about feeling yourself with that card coming up. For Sagittarius is too, you know, Jupiter and Mars being in Gemini, it's good for relationships. The only hang up here is that it's in your 6th house. So you may not really fully see that until Jupiter goes into Cancer next year. But still, there's opportunity to be meeting people and connecting with people at the gym, at the doctor's office, at the laundromat, you know, at work. You could be meeting people at work there as well. And last but certainly not least, we've got Miss Kimberly. What's up, Kimberly? She says, I refinanced my home. I traveled to DC for networking, broke up with a romantic interest today, differing life paths. How's the full moon and the rest of Mercury retro looking? Pisces rising. So you're going to have that full moon that's going to be in your 12th house. So yeah, completions much. That makes sense. And then you're also, as a Leo moon, you're having the retrograde, Leo sun, you're having the retrograde kind of going through your sun. So there's like a change of work stuff, change of schedule, kind of ironing out some stuff in relationships, especially with the retrograde in your 7th, changing direction in relationships. And Scorpio moon. So, you know, lunar returns coming up here pretty soon. Man, just with the Pluto squares, my goodness. Restructuring your schedule and also your relationships is a huge theme. All right. So, how's the full moon and rest of Mercury retro going to be looking? I think it's like, especially for Pisces risings, there's a lot of like, I'm sick of other people's stuff. I'm over it, you know? I don't want to deal with other people's problems anymore. All right, so we have got Nine of Swords, Hangman, and the King of Pentacles. Confirmation card is the Six of Wands. Interesting. Okay, you got some stress, right? Nine of Swords is kind of like, what's going to happen? What are they thinking? Am I going to hear from them? What's going on? Like, are we on the same, like, are we not on the same path? Which obviously you're not from your message. But this can be after like stress and questioning and wondering, finally handling the situation. And so awesome that, as a Pisces rising, the Hangman is coming up. That's your card. So it's about saying like, you know what, it's time for me just to let this go. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's not so much about like dismissing somebody, but kind of being like, if we're both on different paths, I can't force this, or if it's meant to be, it'll work itself out. Or, if you decide that you find yourself in the place that you're ready, I hope you kind of get in touch with me. Something like that is going to be kind of coming up. And I definitely feel like the Hangman is also about trusting the process and not having any expectations, freeing yourself, giving yourself the opportunity to kind of be in limbo right now until you kind of figure out what next energy is potentially going to be coming in. Reworking something about health and habits, especially when it comes to how much time you're creating for other people. And this can be about kind of creating a little bit more personal time and like not letting everybody have access to you, and really making sure that you're reassessing what's going to be best for you in the long term, especially if other people don't know where they're going, because you can get frustrated that you can be feeling like they're taking you off of your path or they're distracting, in some way. King of Pentacles can be talking about an earth sign. So it can be a Virgo, it can be a Capricorn, a Taurus. This can be talking also about you personally channeling this energy of the King of Pentacles, where you're feeling more productive, healthier, on top, that you're making good business moves. This can also be about there being some kind of support from somebody who comes in. That can be relationship-wise. It can be a client even, somebody that's going to be a little bit more solid and reliable. And it does talk about success that's going to be coming from business. So I feel like the more that you're shoring up some of your personal stuff, the more you're able to focus on the things that are a little bit more tangible right now. And it's not that relationships won't happen, but you're coming into what's going to be eclipse season in about a month, and you're going to see a North Node eclipse in your first house in opposition to planets in your seventh house. So you're going to recognize and realize that, you're trusting your gut and you're going with the flow. And if other people are not in sync with you, then you're going to be like, okay, it's time for me to kind of prioritize myself. So I think you're feeling this early, basically. Success with business, things going well in that regard. But I think that that's stemming from the fact that you are kind of creating space and clearing out some stuff with your personal life. And I do feel like this is going to be a time for you where you're going to be glad that you simplified things, because it's going to help you kind of focus on what's most important and be productive. And if other people decide that, they want to come back around, and they may change direction several times during this retrograde and not really kind of get sorted out until closer to mid-month, if they want you, they can come and find you. But there's no need for you to be doing anything, to go above and beyond for another relationship right now, because to me, it seems like the lack of clarity or the stress was like a little bit too much. But good for business and also good for opportunities with meeting other people, right? So if you meet a tall, dark, handsome King of Pentacles that kind of shows up, that's very grounded and present and is there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Mercury go retrograde, in and out of the seventh house, and a partner leaves and somebody else kind of comes in. So definitely can be some like really karmic things that can be kind of happening during that time. Okay. Anyway, one more reading I wanted to do. I wanted to get Sonia because I did not see her message until just now. So hopefully she can come back and she can watch this reading. She said, I didn't know I can get a reading on the lowest tier. Well, it seems that you are level 3, so that's interesting. If so, yes, please. My question is, future goal. Will I be on the road traveling and exploring in the future sooner or later? I saw also that you were making a comment that you saw the Chariot card on the ground. I think you said at the grocery store. That's a good sign. I always get kind of interested when I see like tarot cards out in the wild, or even like playing cards, because I know how to read those too. So it always has some kind of symbolism for me. So let's see, is Sonia going to be on the road? What does she need to know about that? King of Swords, Page of Swords, 8 of Cups. Well, I would say this is actually quite positive. I kind of get the feeling that
With 8 of Cups coming up, you're ready to leave. Like, you're ready to leave stuff behind and you're ready to do something new. You're ready to kind of see new places, and whether that's to travel temporarily or relocate or just to kind of suss out a new place, I do see that happening. Page of Swords and King of Swords makes me feel like there's going to be some communication and some back and forth with another person. This can be a relationship at a distance with somebody. This can be like a male figure, like a brother or like another relative, but you're going back and forth with somebody. And like basically like talking to them about where ultimately you want to end up, or maybe you're trying to find ways to be able to connect with new people. Page of Swords is about being adventurous. It's about getting out there and being curious and kind of feeling things out. It might mean that you're considering doing little stints in places until maybe you figure out somewhere that you would consider living a little bit more long term. I also kind of feel like with the Page of Swords, this can be about more inquisitive people coming into your life that are like, well, where do you want to go? And like, what have you always wanted to see? And people giving you information about places that you can kind of check out or that you can see. Air signs come up, Geminis, Libras, and also Aquariuses can kind of pop in. And I feel like, you know, with the Page of Swords coming up, this is like a younger, youthful kind of exploring energy. So maybe you're like, I don't really quite know where I want to land yet, but I'm going to check some places out before I make a solid decision. King of Swords can be about making a commitment, signing a lease, you know, telling people that you're moving. It can also be about having a connection with somebody who can be like a partnership or a guide or a support system, who is able to kind of make you feel heard, and somebody that you find really intriguing and interesting and very intelligent that you go back and forth with, that may somehow have an influence on your travels and may also kind of point or guide you in the right direction, right? Anyway. Hopefully that's helpful, Sonia. If I see you in some of the comments or the chats in the future, I'll let you know that we did get your reading in here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. You can catch me back here on Sunday. We're going to do an astro weather. We're going to talk all about this Mars-Jupiter conjunction that's coming up. Make sure you're subscribed. Check out the horoscopes and the other reports and videos that we do. We're here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. If you guys want to book a personal reading with me, or you want to learn how to read tarot, check out my website at beyondtheveiledtarot.com, where I have my courses and my personal one-on-one sessions. I would love to read for you if you would like to read with me. All right, that's it for me tonight, guys. I'll see you all very soon. Enjoy your weekend and take care.